Hello and welcome to the Report World News. My name is Barnona Zarzoda. A gas tank truck exploded at the filling station in Samarkand region of Uzbekistan, killing 2 people, the Uzbek Emergency Situations Minister said on Monday. According to the ministry, an explosion occurred during the discharging of the liquefied gas from the truck, killing the driver and an employee of the filling station. The cause of the explosion and the amount of material damage are being investigated. The number of mobile subscribers in Uzbekistan has reached 26.9 million as of April the 1st, the Uzbek State Statistics Committee said on Monday. In comparison with the same period of last year, the indicator has expanded by 10.8%. The number of individual subscribers has made up 24.79 million. The indicator of the provision of the population with mobile communications is 72 units for every 100 people, the committee added. Uzbekistan, with a population of almost 35 million, has imported mobile phones worth 45.4 million in the first 4 months of this year. The United States will help Uzbekistan launch futures trading, the press service of the Uzbek Commodity Exchange has reported. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is set to provide regulations on futures trading, consulting on the control of the futures market, industry experts.
The American company Connemara Systems is to help with the development of software for futures trading on Uzbek's platforms and the implementation of IT. The company is to also introduce electronic systems for trading futures and ensure their integration into the local clearing system. Founded in 1998, Connemara Systems provides engineering services for the development, testing, and technical support of software products for exchanges, banks, and financial markets. Its main clients are the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the American Financial Exchange, Morgan Stanley, Ares Exchange, Cargill, etc.
Uzbek professional racer Anvar Ergashev has attended Rally Kazakhstan 2021. His first 2 races went quite well as he was placed 3rd and 5th. However, the 3rd day had unexpected consequences. With overturned car, he was forced to suspend his participation.
My team told me to drive more carefully in a rut. I didn't take their warning seriously. I drove at a good speed and didn't understand how a track could get thrown out of a rut. We were being thrown out, but it was all right. We managed to get out and got there. But then we were so thrown out that we did 3 cartwheels. It was a good experience for me. Now I'll know how not to behave in rut and that it is impossible to gain time on a short stretch. Instead, I just need to go at my own pace, Anvar Ergashev said. In fact, it was such a coincidence. There was no dust in front, no one caught up with us from behind, nothing pressured us, except our own ambition and desire. The track after the super production car is not quite suitable for us, so it swayed and threw us. We tried to steer off, but we hit a strip of soft ground and the front left wheel got stuck. As a result, we were a little bit on the side. Rear arm was bent so that it was impossible to drive without a new one, navigator Andrei Rudnitsky added. The next race, World Cup Stage Silk Road, is due from July the 1st to 11. It will take place on the territory of Russia and Mongolia. Anvar Ergashev said he would show a decent result.
Some 660,000 AstraZeneca doses of coronavirus vaccine are set to be delivered in Uzbekistan in August. According to the head of the UNICEF office in the Republic, Munir Mamadzadeh, the delivery is carried out under the COVAX program. In total, the Uzbek authorities have ordered more than 2.2 million doses of AstraZeneca and 660,000 have been delivered so far. The supply of new batches had to be postponed due to the difficult epidemic situation in India, where it is produced. The country received 2 more batches of Uzbek Chinese vaccine on July 10, bringing the stock of vaccines to 5.4 million doses. Uzbekistan plans to launch Indian online telemedicine platform. The decision was made at an online meeting between the National Office for Innovation and Technology Transfer on localization of new technologies in Uzbekistan. The companies Tajas, Impex and Aura Eliminations offered to cooperate in this area on a ready-made project. They expressed interest in supporting startups, conducting webinars on new technologies, exchanging experience between experts and expanding contacts in the field of software. Saudi Arabian government has made a decision to temporarily ban the pilgrimage to citizens of foreign countries. Amid the pandemic, as was in 2020, only local residents would be able to carry out pilgrimage. The number of visitors is to be limited with 60,000 people. Only Saudi Arabian residents aged 18 to 65 and those who have undergone vaccination against COVID-19 would be able to make pilgrimage. The Hajj season this year will be underway from 17 to 22nd July. As Uzbekistan eyes to expand interparliamentary cooperation with the United States, Uzbek Ambassador Javlon Vahabov held talks with the member of the Democratic Party Senator Chris Van Hollen and Republican Congressmen Ted Cruz and Roger Wicker. The head of the diplomatic mission briefed the U.S. lawmakers on human rights reforms undergoing in the Republic, as well as the government's efforts aimed at enhancing the role of the parliament and local self-government to ensure an open dialogue between people and authorities.
The U.S. lawmakers noted that the United States and the International Labour Organization acknowledge the Uzbek government's efforts to abolish forced and child labor, adding that intensive cooperation between the two countries had contributed to the transformation of the annual bilateral consultations into a strategic partnership dialogue. Besides, Congressman highlighted Uzbekistan's aim to deepen links between Central and South Asia. Senator Ted Cruz supported the embassy's initiative to adopt a special resolution supporting the further development of a strategic partnership between the Republic and the United States. The legislator expressed his willingness to initiate a resolution at the hearing of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Roger Wicker welcomed Uzbekistan's decision to invite OSCE observer mission to the presidential election in October 2021. Separately, Wicker pointed to the progress made in ensuring religious freedoms in the Republic. According to the senator, the adoption of a new act of the freedom of conscience and religious organizations would serve as a further confirmation of the country's commitment to safeguarding religious freedoms and its determination to continue the reform process that had been initiated.
A roundtable discussion chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Jamshid Kuchkarov has examined the challenges in ensuring stable prices on internal and external market for fruit, vegetables and meat products in Tashkent, as well as issues occurring due to the absence of online information sharing tools between the customers and producers.
In a bid to ensure pricing transparency on the local wholesale market, the parties agreed to develop a pilot software system that would involve data on agricultural and meat products, on which the types, quantity and origins of goods would be specified. The data would include the information on the highest and lowest prices. With this in mind, the event participants concluded the main reason for the drop in the onion prices, saying that over the past 3 years, the volume of onion exports has increased by 7.6 times.
The U.S. passed 600,000 COVID-19 deaths on Monday, a painful reminder that illness and grief still persist as the country begins to return to a level of normalcy.
My heart goes out to all those who've lost a loved one.
U.S. President Joe Biden in Brussels for a NATO meeting reflected on the somber milestone.
I know that black hole that seems to consume you, that fills up your chest when you lose someone that's close to you that you adored. That's why I continue to say to America, if you've not been vaccinated, get vaccinated.
The rate of severe illness and death has dropped dramatically in the U.S. as more Americans have become vaccinated. But for many, life won't be normal after losing loved ones to the disease.
This is Lupita. Look how beautiful she is.
Houston-based artist Joni Zavitsanos created a mural with about 575 images of locals who died from the coronavirus.
Every day we're watching the news and hearing about people dying and all these weird statistics. And as I'm working in the studio, I begin thinking, like, who are these people? Who are they talking about? This seems so cold and impersonal. I know we can't bring them back, but that they live among us and that they are with us, I want people to believe and to feel.
The images are printed onto 8x8-inch pieces of wood, and Zavitsanos paints a halo using gold leaf around each person, an homage to the Byzantine art of the Greek Orthodox Church that she attends. Vinciane Mendola still grieves for her father, Vincent, who died of the disease at age 77.
You know, it's just very sad, and it's very hard to know that I'm coming on a year. But I do feel that he made such a strong impact on all of our lives that he's still with us.
The U.S. 7-day COVID-19 death average has fallen by almost 90% from its peak in January. According to the CDC, the country has so far vaccinated 166 million adults with at least one dose, although the rate of shots administered has dropped significantly from its peak in mid-April.
I just finished meeting with President Erdogan of Turkey. We had a positive and productive meeting, much of it one-on-one.
Despite U.S. President Joe Biden's upbeat tone, no major breakthroughs were announced Monday in the relationship between the United States and Turkey.
Our teams are going to continue our discussions, and I'm confident we'll make real progress with Turkey and the United States.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan echoed that optimism, saying that areas of cooperation between the two nations are richer and larger than the problems.
I have also invited Mr. Biden to Turkey. He said he may be able to come after our busy schedules are cleared.
But neither Biden nor Erdogan provided any details on how exactly they would cut through existing tension. Turkey, with NATO's second largest military, has angered its allies in the Western alliance by buying Russian surface-to-air missiles and intervening in wars in Syria and Libya. It is also in a standoff with Greece and Cyprus over territory in the eastern Mediterranean. Washington has already removed Ankara from the F-35 fighter jet program and imposed sanctions over Turkey's purchase of the Russian missiles. At the start of Monday's main leaders session at NATO, Biden spoke to Erdogan at length in a small group, but later the two leaders and their top aides sat mostly silently on opposite sides of a table, ignoring questions shouted at them by reporters briefly invited into the room.
Mr. President, can you tell us what you guys talked about?
One area where Erdogan hoped to showcase a central role in NATO is Afghanistan. Turkey has offered to guard and operate Kabul's international airport after U.S. and NATO forces withdraw from the country in the coming weeks. NATO head Jens Stoltenberg said Turkey would play a key role, but said no decision was made on the issue at Monday's summit.
The UK government has delayed plans to lift the remaining COVID-19 restrictions in England. Prime Minister Boris Johnson made the announcement on Monday, citing the highly contagious Delta variant spreading rapidly throughout the country. He warned that thousands more people might die if he did nothing. It means pubs, nightclubs, restaurants, and other venues won't be allowed to fully reopen for another 4 weeks. The final stage of lockdown had been due to end on June 21st, under a plan laid out by Johnson in February. Johnson said more time was needed to fully assess the risk of reopening.
We will monitor the position every day, and if, after 2 weeks, we have concluded that the risk has diminished, then we reserve the possibility of proceeding to step 4 and a full opening sooner. But now is the time to ease off the accelerator, because by being cautious now, we have the chance in the next 4 weeks to save many thousands of lives by vaccinating millions more people.
The Delta variant, first detected in India, has sparked a recent resurgence of COVID-19 cases in Britain. Health officials believe it is 60% more transmissible than the previously dominant strain, and fear it could lead to hospitals being overwhelmed again. The extra time under lockdown will also be used to speed up Britain's vaccination program by shortening the suggested time between doses from 12 weeks to 8. Britain currently has one of the fastest vaccine rollouts in the world. Over 41 million people have received their first dose, and nearly 30 million have had both, around 57% of the adult population.
U.S. President Joe Biden offered an unequivocal commitment to defend fellow NATO countries on Monday.
Article 5 we take as a sacred obligation.
Article 5 is the mutual defense clause of the military alliance.
I just want all of Europe to know that the United States is there.
The members are in Brussels for an annual summit. Biden sought to rally Western allies to support a U.S. strategy to contain China's military rise and present a united front in the face of Russian aggression. Allied leaders are concerned about Russia's recent military buildup near Ukraine, as well as its covert and cyber attacks to undermine Western states. Moscow denies any wrongdoing. Beijing, while not seen as an outright adversary, is no longer seen as a benign trading partner. Here's how NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg put it.
China does not share our values. We see how they crack down on democratic protests in Hong Kong. All of this matters for our security.
Another topic at the NATO summit is the handover of power in Washington. Biden's predecessor disparaged the alliance as obsolete, harangued members to pay more for mutual defense, and sometimes appeared to cozy up to their number one adversary, Moscow. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte seemed relieved to see the U.S. administration once again committed to the principles of the Defense Pact.
I also was able to work with Trump. Of course, it was a bit more awkward sometimes, but I think with Joe Biden, it's more natural again.
Biden will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Geneva on Wednesday.
The phones at this trauma call centre in the occupied West Bank often ring all day. At the other end of the line, people in distress, from mental health issues, child protection, domestic abuse, and often people scarred by Gaza's years of conflict. This is Sawa 1-1. It's a Palestinian helpline in Ramallah. Noor Nazal is with the service and told Reuters of a caller who ran away from bombing, accidentally leaving her son behind.
She realised after she left that her son wasn't with her. She went back during the bombing and got him. Here, it was our turn to tell her that she was a supermum. In this difficult situation, you were able to get your son from inside, and it had a happy ending. The mother and all her kids went to another home safely.
Sawa means together in Arabic. During the 11 days of hostility between Israel and Hamas in May, its councillors fielded around 37,000 calls. That's twice their usual workload. Director of Sawa's Ramallah office, Jalal Kader, says although fighting has now stopped, their support work is just beginning.
A lot of the people who called us during the first, second, and third wars called us during the fourth war. It's as if the trauma and crises that they went through during the previous wars came back again, because they're living the same crisis that they've lived through before. This makes it really difficult to continue everyday life without psychological support, without support for these people.
Sawa workers were faced with concerns over safety, unexploded bombs and missing children in May's conflict. Others even used the service to pass on messages to their family when they ran out of phone credit. One distressed caller was on the line from Gaza when an explosion drowned out his voice and the line suddenly went dead. Staff are limited to answering the phones for a maximum of 20 hours a week to prevent burnout. But Nazal said the gratitude of callers makes the difficult job worthwhile.
When we leave and hear the feedback that they give us, how much you gave me relief, how much you reassured me and gave me hope for life, this gives us the motivation to offer something even better and continue with our work.
Under pressure to shift away from fossil fuels and slash carbon emissions, Royal Dutch Shell is reviewing its assets in the largest U.S. oil field for a possible sale. People familiar with the matter told Reuters. U.S.-listed shares of the number 2 energy company outside of the Middle East jumped Monday on the news. Shell's holdings in the U.S. Permian Basin could be worth more than $10 billion, sources say. Shell declined to comment. Shell's energy transition plan, one of the sector's most ambitious, aims to reduce oil and gas output gradually and boost spending on renewables, hydrogen, and low-carbon technologies. A full sale would mark one of Shell's largest disposals in recent years and would further shrink the Hague-based company's U.S. footprint. The company has agreed to sell all but one of its U.S. oil refineries. A Dutch court last month ordered Shell to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 much faster than planned. Shell plans to appeal the ruling, its CEO said last week, but the company will also deepen emission cuts, a move likely to shrink its oil and gas business. Even if Shell does put its Texas shale assets up for sale, finding a buyer might not be easy. Projects in the Permian Basin are large-scale and require constant drilling, which eat away at profits.
Washington is assessing a reported leak at China's Taishan nuclear power plant, CNN reported on Monday. But the Biden administration does not believe the facility is at a crisis level yet, following meetings of its National Security Council, CNN added, citing unnamed US officials and documents it reviewed. French power group EDF said on Monday it had been informed of a build-up of inert gases at its plant in China and had called for a meeting with its Chinese partner. CNN also reported that Framatome, the EDF unit which designed the reactor, had warned of an imminent radiological threat. Framatome said it was supporting efforts to resolve the situation, saying in a statement, according to the data available, the plant is operating within the safety parameters, adding that it was working with experts to assess the situation. EDF said the build-up was a known phenomenon, studied and provided for in the reactor operating procedures. State-run China General Nuclear Power Group, the majority owner of the joint venture with EDF, said in a statement on its website on Sunday that operations at the nuclear power station met safety rules and the surrounding environment is safe. The power from the plant serves the Guangzhou and Shenzhen areas, which have faced power shortages in recent weeks due to hot weather and lower than normal hydropower supplies from neighbouring Yunnan province. A Reuters call for comment to the National Nuclear Safety Administration went unanswered during a public holiday.
Olga Chiagamano says she was selling more than $1,200 worth of watches, shoes and handbags on Twitter every week. That was until the Nigerian government indefinitely suspended the social media site.
I feel very, very distraught. I feel really disorganized.
Now, the Lagos-based entrepreneur says she doesn't know how she will cope.
I've been trying to build this platform. I've been trying to put my best, be consistent. They said, do this, post more, talk to more people. I've done everything I needed to do, but then I was able to do that because I had the platform.
Nigeria's government suspended Twitter on June 4, 2 days after the platform removed a post from President Muhammadu Buhari that threatened to punish regional separatists. The decision has left small and medium-sized businesses reeling. Research firm NOI Polls estimates 39.6 million Nigerians use Twitter, 20% for business advertising, and 18% to look for employment opportunities. The suspension was among complaints from people who took to the streets on Saturday, including activist Yaki Ferrari.
The federal government and the rulership of Nigeria is so dumb that they have forgotten the economical value of Twitter.
Dumebi Eke, research analyst with the financial derivatives company, said young Nigerians, among whom there is a 45% unemployment rate, would be hit hardest.
We're looking at potential loss in their revenue, looking at potential loss, and then the ripple effect would be on output growth, because if manufacturing sector is affected, if businesses are affected, if trade sector is affected, we're looking at potential, decline in economic growth.
Information Minister Lai Mohammed last week said that all social media sites must register a local entity and get licensed to operate. He cited the complaints over loss of money as proof that the suspension was working and said that other sites are still available.
And this was our last report. Thank you for watching and goodbye.